Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this. My name is Jayla Watts, and I'm here to present my self-change project. First, I want to tell you a little bit about my target behavior for this project. My target behavior was my constant negative view of myself as I would compare myself to others on a regular basis. I feel this behavior and thinking came from my use of social media as I grew up and barely knew myself. Social media has become an integral part of my daily routine ever since I was about 10 years old. I remember going to school, coming home, and going straight to the computer to go on different sites and talk to people on the internet. When I finally got a smartphone, my first thought was to download social media apps like Vine, Instagram, and Twitter. On networks like these, people are granted the access to inform others of their opinions on pretty much anything. This included other people's looks. I soon came to realize that there was a set expectation on how men wanted women to look, and that I was not a part of the beauty standard, or so I thought. As I continued life, trying to figure out who I was and who I wanted to be, I was always reminded of what was expected of me, and also saw other girls who I felt fit that standard as they gave the attention that I thought I wanted. This caused me to have doubts about my own beauty and lose confidence in myself. I began to compare myself to others I saw on social media and eventually in real life as well. I knew this was damaging to my mental health and decided to work on myself to combat that. So I wanted to see what the professionals have to say about this. I read an article by John Sunru and Ahmad. It was published in 2017, and the title was The Impact of Social Media on Self-Esteem. I'm going to read just a little bit of their abstract to you guys so you can see, we can get an idea of their study and findings. Social media has gained immense popularity in the last decade, and its power has left certain long lasting effects on people. The upward comparisons made using social networking sites have caused people to have lower self esteem. Facebook, being the most popular social networking site, was used as a representative of social media for their study. The major findings suggest that approximately 88% of people engage in making social comparisons on Facebook, and out of the 88%, 98% of the comparisons are upward social comparisons. Further, this research proves that there is a strong relationship between social media and self esteem. Increase in social media usage causes the self esteem of individuals to decrease. 1 hour spent on Facebook daily results in a 5.574 decrease in the self esteem score of an individual. Although Facebook isn't a primary social media site of choice for me, I find that their results are comparable to my own experiences. Here are some pictures of me when I was young, maybe about 9, 10, or 11. And as I'm doing this project, I just find it amazing that at such a young age, social media warped my perception of myself. And according to my initial self-assessment, I can see just how self-aware I am about my negative tendencies, as well as the damage they cause. Because of that, I rated my preparedness to change my behavior at about an 8 out of 10. However, I rated my confidence at a 6 out of 10, as I am also aware that this is an issue I have been dealing with since I was a preteen. So the fact that this is still an area of concern is very concerning for me. I tend to slip up with my methods of changing my habits often, so I was not entirely sure how successful I would be. With all these factors in mind, I completed step two, the baseline assessment, where I monitored my behavior and made observations. I was able to identify that social media was not the only method of comparison that I was using that contributed to my low self esteem, but that I was also making the comparisons in real life. However, these real life comparisons more than likely stemmed from my excessive use of social media. And throughout the week of my assessment, I noticed that the days I spent more time occupied with tasks such as going to class, working in extracurriculars, I spent less time thinking about other people and comparing myself. Days where I had more free time to just lay around and use my phone were the days I had the most trouble trying to not have my thoughts drift in a negative direction. I measured how often I had negative thoughts. By counting each time, I could pinpoint a thought of low self esteem and equating it to 10 minutes, which led me to being able to represent that time in hours on my assessment. So here you'll see that I have butterflies to represent a moment of insecure thoughts. So for day one, I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight butterflies, which equates to an hour and about 40 minutes, 20 minutes, I believe. And I did my measurements like this because I feel that even just 1 second of an insecure or negative thought about yourself can heavily impact you. So I decided to make even just a couple seconds of a thought like that equate to more time so that I could get a numerical view and see just how often I think like this and how much it actually affects my mental health. For day two, I have two butterflies for 20 minutes, and for day three, I have five butterflies for 50 minutes, which is about an hour, as we know. So as predicted, days where I was more busy were days that I didn't really have time to scroll on my phone and think about, how I look compared to this person. So activities such as doing hair, I'm a hairstylist on campus, going to parties, or just being outside and away from my phone were the times, the days where I didn't really spend much time having insecure thoughts. So I gave myself 3 months to change this behavior. Um, because I wanted to set a realistic goal for myself, and I didn't want to give myself more time than this because this is something I've been trying to change within myself for years now. So I felt if I gave myself just 3 months, I'll be able to cut it off quick and know that I have a deadline and a goal. I knew that I needed to lessen or eliminate the time spent on social media in order to achieve this. And I decided to measure my progress by assessing how long I spent using apps such as Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And I used intervention techniques to help me monitor this. So for my first intervention technique, I used positive reinforcements and rewards. During the first week, I wanted to get an exact numerical measurement of my social media usage. I chose to use the Apple feature screen time to get these measurements. What I did was I used Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok for however long I wanted without really thinking about what exactly I was doing. And then I went back and looked at just how long I used the combination of these apps each day. If the time was under 4 hours, I will reward myself with adding $20 to my savings account as I'm saving up for my birthday coming up. If the time was over 4 hours, I added no money to the account. Here I can show you some of the data that I found. So on this day, I spent a total of 9 hours, 16 minutes on social apps alone. For Instagram, I spent 2 hours and 8 minutes. TikTok, 2 hours, 8 minutes. And Twitter, I believe that's 1 hour, 1 minute. That's well over 4 hours. So there's an X because I did not add the $20 to my savings. On this day, I spent a total of 8 hours and 10 minutes. However, for Instagram, I only spent 1 hour and 33 minutes. Twitter, an hour and 26 minutes. And TikTok, 31 minutes. This came just under 4 hours. So I was able to add the money to my savings. And it's the same for this day. I only spent 4 hours and 25 minutes on all social apps. And for Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, they all fall under 1 hour time. So I was able to add the $20. And I wanted to remain true to myself because even if on some days there was a day where I only spent like 4 hours and 1 minute, but I didn't add the money because I wanted to stick to my goals. Now for intervention two, I decided to use social media to my advantage. So for this week, I went and found pages and posted affirmations and positive quotes and motivations and things of that nature. And I made sure that since I usually tend to open social media first thing I wake up, that these were the pages that I went and looked on to start my day off. And I would write the affirmations that I liked in my journal and look at that every day also. And for my last intervention, I did more so of a formal technique that I felt that a clinical psychologist would take. So I wrote down a series of questions for myself. The questions were: did you write your daily affirmations? How many times did you scroll on TikTok on a specific account, like just looking at one person? Did you post an image of yourself to any social media platform today? Did you cry at all today? And how are you feeling? I asked myself these questions every day for a week, and I answered them at the end of the day. And I also have pictures here of my journal where I did write my affirmations, and I also wrote down my gratitude. And I feel that this technique worked really good as well. Working on this behavior was tough as I began to find it almost normal to compare myself to others constantly. However, I think I did an amazing job of improving my self esteem and will rate myself an 8 out of 10. I find that I now walk around with a more positive outlook on things and even myself. I no longer feel the necessity to use filters when taking selfies, and I am even gaining more confidence in my natural self. As you can see in this picture, I didn't use a filter, and I've noticed as I looked at my camera roll, there are less and less days where I used filters. I used to just even open up the phone just to check on how my eyebrows looked, and I had to put a filter on because I wasn't confident in how I looked, just plain. But I would say that my intervention techniques worked really well. I don't find that any of them were least successful. They all worked pretty good for me, and yeah, that's pretty much about it. Thank you for tuning in to my presentation. Have a good day.